Greetings and salutations everyone, Crimson Nero here, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy. In the last episode, we went through the Ice Cave, or the Ice Cavern, and managed to get the Levistone, as well as gain a few levels, take on some really hard enemies, and also just, you know, get a few, like, cool weapons and items. In this episode, we're going to be going off to where we need to use the Levistone, as well as starting to go and start doing an additional side quest. This side quest right here is one of the most important side quests in the entirety of Final Fantasy 1. You definitely want to do it if it's your first time playing, because trust me, it'll help you. And also just because, like, it's just the reward is just so good. So that's why we're gonna do it. Yes, we do need to actually get the Levistone to begin with, because it's necessary for the rest of the game, as well as just the fact that what we get from just obtaining the Levistone is just fantastic, just in general. But also, what we can do after we use the Levistone. Oh man, there's some good stuff on the horizon, I can assure you. So if you're wondering, hey, Nero, where you been, buddy? What's been going on? Well, my friends and I have been playing Monster Hunter World a lot. And I mean a lot. I mean, the game only came out like a month and a week or two ago. Like about like 4 to 6 weeks ago. And I've already put in over 100 hours. I mean, yes, there are many people who have played way more Monster Hunter World than I have. I mean, heck, some of my friends have put way more time into Monster Hunter World than I have, but hey, I've been playing other games. I've also had just a lot of stuff happening, but good stuff. Like, a lot of new opportunities have opened up for me recently, and I'm very excited about that. I won't get into any specific details, but just things are good. Busy in a good way, but still good. Things are going well. I'm doing well, and people I know are doing pretty well too, so yay, that's always good. Now, if only we could just get to... Let's see. Where can I dock the ship? I want to get to that desert there. Just need to find a way to dock it. I think this will work, right? Maybe? There's gotta be someplace somewhere. That's not what I wanted. Let's see, where... I guess... Wait, so if we... Listen, man, I know where I'm going sometimes in this game. Other times, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. It's just the nature of the game. It's a big open world that doesn't always tell you exactly what you need to do. And, like, that's just how games were back in the day. And, like, any time that, in recent memory, we've been given games that really just let you go about your own pace and doesn't focus on, like, huge cutscenes and giant arrows pointing you in the right direction. I mean, yes, it's convenient, and it makes games go faster, so there's less wandering, but at the same time, though, like, when games like Dark Souls came out, everyone was just like, oh my gosh, it's a game that's actually difficult, doesn't hold your hand, and and you can play it basically kind of any way you want, and do things in several different orders. It's open-ended. Everyone went ballistic, and, like, it was harkening back to some of the earlier games that you could find on, like, the Nintendo or, like, early PC games, where things weren't just so cut and dry and just, oh hey, just go from point A to point B and that's how you win the game. No, it's like this is a world. This is a place to explore and to wander. Speaking of exploring and wandering, that is like Monster Hunter World in a nutshell. Those areas are big. You don't you have to like make your own map. Like you go to new areas in the overall world, and it, like opens up the map more. And man, I just like Monster Hunter World. Come on, man, it's just fun. That's like the main theme of this entire Let's Play. Is just, hey, Monster Hunter World is really cool. Am I right? The Ryukon Desert. And we'll put the Levistone right here. And then suddenly the earth just splits open. And from the depths of the earth we get something with propellers. I'm holding in like all my excitement because just Oh wait, sorry, we gotta close the secret compartment. We obtained an airship! Yeah! Woo! I love airships. I love it in any RPG that allows you to just move fast in general, whether it's your character moving fast, or you getting vehicles, or just anything. And airships are like the one surefire way of just suddenly opening up the entire world to a player, as well as just letting them go to various far-off places in just no time flat. It's fantastic. I love it. It just... airships are cool, man! They're cool! I mean, this one has propellers, but, like, there's also airships that, like, you know, run on, like, balloons, like in Final Fantasy XIV. Those airships work off balloons. Or at least the ones that, that get you from one major city to another. Man, I haven't played Final Fantasy XIV in a little bit over a month, and I really need to get back to it. I need to get myself another... I need to buy more subscription time. Man, there's just so many games to play. Not enough time. But hey, we're just enjoying our time with Final Fantasy, and that's what matters, especially because, hey, I got to name characters after some of my good friends, which is always nice. So let's see what the City of Gaia has for us in terms of equipable items. Those protect rings would be... ooh, protects against instant death. Huh. I shall consider them. And then cat claws. Those are only useful for monks. And because there's really nothing else that we really need to focus on buying, why not just get protect rings for everybody? Protect against instant death. That'd be awesome. Plus, they just up your stats. It's great. It's really it's interesting to come from playing so much Monster Hunter and then coming back to Final Fantasy and to just see that, oh hey, in Final Fantasy your armor and like all your equipment is literally just a bunch of numbers. In Monster Hunter, yes, it's all about your skill, but if you're wearing certain types of armor, not only do you have to deal with the defense stat that you have, but also you have to deal with all of the elemental resistances that the armor has. Like, some armor will give you, like, I don't know, +5 resistance to fire damage, but in exchange for that, you take bonus damage from, like, electricity or something. So it's a balancing act. It's like, alright, cool, new armor just got unlocked, and I can make that, but is it a worthwhile trade-off? Not to mention the fact that not only do you have to deal with the defense stat and the resistances, but also you have to deal with the skills and the gem slots. Now all of that is a huge undertaking. There's a lot of intricacies to Monster Hunter, but I'm getting off topic again. Back to Final Fantasy. More Sphinxes, which actually look way more like manticores, because they had the body of a lion, the wings of a bat, and the tail of a scorpion. Manticores also have a bit of history in alchemy as well. I've been doing a bit of reading up on alchemy as of late, just to prepare myself for some Dungeons and Dragons stuff in the future. One of the things I really like to do in my campaigns is that I always like to do a lot of research into real-world things, because as many people before me have said, is that fantasy is based off of reality. And so what better way to craft interesting fantasy than to look at some of just the lesser known, more fantastical elements of our own world. One thing I always try to think about is, oh hey, when it comes to like creating the actual like land masses that the characters will, and environments that the characters will explore, I mean obviously there's going to be times where you can bend the rules a little bit, make things that are more fantastical and not just the stock, just, oh hey, it's a forest, or hey, there are mountains. But even so, even with just that, you can look at places like New Zealand, which are absolutely beautiful and breathtaking, and basically just kind of give you those large, sweeping landscapes that you see in like Lord of the Rings, and just give off that fantasy vibe, and like that kind of stuff is so awesome, and you don't really have to go that far to make interesting stuff for a role-playing game. Maybe it's something as simple as, oh hey, it's a forest, but what if the forest itself, like all the trees and stuff, or like even just the leaves, were all like glowing neon, like neon colors, and suddenly it was like this like like the entire forest just seemed like it was some sort of like big neon light show or something. Like you went to a rave or a party or something. That'd be interesting. Actually, heck, I did that in a one-shot campaign that I did for some friends. I was just like, neon forest. That'd be kind of cool. Then again, that idea is not... It's not the first time I've ever heard of that idea, now that I think about it. Considering, I mean, heck, look at Luminous Forest from Sonic Forces. That is just like, hey, let's take a forest and put a bunch of casino stuff in here, and like blinking lights and stuff like that. So, I mean, hey, I guess you could kind of take it as that. But then again, Sonic Forces only came out recently, within the last 6 months, and my campaign was at least a year or two ago. So maybe I beat Sega to the punch. But then again, as Mark Twain, I believe, said that like nothing is original. But take that as you will. I mean, there are still like some really creative ideas out there. Maybe it's not necessarily making a brand new idea. Maybe it's just elaborating on a past idea and just working out all the kinks and making it something that's still interesting. Maybe not necessarily the most new and original idea, but it takes already established things and just makes the best out of it. Man, I have not been focusing like at all on the actual gameplay. Yeah, the big thing about getting the airship is actually, like, yes, it's really good to use. I'm using it to get around, but the biggest thing about the airship is actually finding a place to park it. Oh, yikes. Sam, you need to heal, buddy. Yeah, when it comes to the airship, it's a matter of finding just open land, just like a block of just solid grass that you can actually land on. Things like mountains, rivers, the ocean, not gonna cut it. In some RPGs, you can actually use your airship as an actual boat, which is pretty cool. I mean, there is the fact that there is the idea of, like, hey, you can make a boat into an airship. Like, it's just a matter of just putting, like, either a different type of engine or propellers instead of sails or something like that, or using a balloon, but just using the hull of a ship. You can do that. Or, in some cases, I've seen things where it's like, hey, here's a boat that we had, just like a typical boat, and then suddenly we just had this massive creature just fly us around and just carry the boat. I've seen that before in some role-playing games, and it's actually pretty interesting. Some games actually just say, hey, we're just gonna teleport you to where you need to be. There's really no world map, and I like actually exploring world maps. Some people might say, oh, but it's tedious, and like you get into a lot of random encounters if it's and stuff like that. But dude, just exploring a new world map is fun. Some world maps even aren't actually world maps. They're just like interconnected zones that you go from. Like if you went to the north exit of a city, you would go into I don't know, the marsh. And that would be its own contained area. But if you went through the south exit of the city, you would go into, I don't know, a forest. And that would be its own interconnected zone. And then you would just, at some point in the game, you'd probably just unlock the ability to just instantly teleport yourself to various zones or to a new town or whatever the case may be. In Final Fantasy, not so much. You gotta take things by the seat of your own wit. You need to be the driving force that puts you forward. All right, thank you for missing. Get out of here, Basilisk. You're supposed to be like a giant snake, not a giant lizard. Actually, well, that may not be true. There have been so many different types of enemy designs in the past. You come bearing the crown, I see. Your fortitude cannot be questioned, indeed not. Very well, I shall grant you the right to undergo the trials. Go now, sit upon the throne. Your courage will be put to the test. If true courage dwells within you, you will find proof of it here. Alright, and so we begin the Citadel of Trials. Oh man, teleporting thrones. That's weird, man. And then tons of teleporters. Oh. So yes. The Citadel of Trials. This place is completely optional. You do not have to do it. But what we get at the end of it is totally worth it. Well, you need to get the canoe in order to wait. Hold on. Let me actually let's back this up. You need to beat Garland in order to get across where the bridge is built. Then you need to get to Provoca and get the ship. You need to use the ship in order to get to the area surrounding Elfheim. You need to do all of the Elfheim quest and fight the Lich and get the key in order to get the Nitro Powder. You need to get the Nitro Powder in order to blow open the canal and then get to get up to the rest of the world map. And by using the ship, you go over to Crescent Lake. You talk to the sages there. In order to get the canoe, you need the canoe in order to get to the ice cave. You need to go to the ice cave in order to get the Levistone. You need the Levistone in order to get the airship, and you need the airship in order to get to the Citadel of Trials. And you need to do the Citadel of Trials in order to get the item that allows you to go to a different place to do a different thing in order to talk to a guy that gives you the real reward. Man, that's some multi-layered stuff. I mean, I guess it's technically actually a straightforward path, but still though, it's a lot of do this to get this in order to do that to be this thing and do the stuff with the other. Yeah. That sounds like a pretty accurate description. Get out of here, Minotaur zombies! Oh no, one survived! He's not too bad. Taste the power of holy light! Hey, Sam and Jacqueline got a level. Oh, so did Cyrus! Hey, nice. And I'm just over here, just staying the same level. But not for long! Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you're going down the right paths when it comes to the Citadel of Trials, because, yeah, there are so many teleporters and dead ends here that it can be overwhelming, but I think I have this place generally figured out so I can get to where I need to be. But yeah, making sure that you take the right teleporters is key in order to actually get through this place with less hassle, I'll say. Mind Flayers! You have returned! But this time, I am stronger, and you cannot get Mind Blast on all of us. Only half of us. But Sam and Cyrus got this, doing damage. Oh, let's go! Nice. Wow, that gave me a lot of gil. That was almost 5,000 whole gil. Fantastic. Yeah, Final Fantasy just kind of become like once you obtain the second level elemental spells like Fire, Thundara, and Blizzara. Once you unlock those, it's not necessarily a matter of alright, we need to defeat the enemies. It's more of a matter of alright, we just need to have the mage cast an AoE spell, and then for all the melee fighters to just do the cleaning up act afterwards. Also, surprisingly enough, I was not expecting there to be quite as many undead enemies in pretty much in any point in the game past after fighting the Lich. Clearly, I was very mistaken. Now let's see what's on this trap tile. Oh, we got ambushed by a clay golem who who poisoned me? How does that work? I used to be just a bunch of rubble, but eventually I meditated myself in some poisonous goo, and now I'm dead. Gauntlets. Alright. Speaking of gauntlets, some of my friends and I were we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons and Monster Hunter because we play both together, and we were talking about gauntlets that you wear on your on your forearms, and I was mentioning just the fact that I am such a huge sucker for any type of gauntlet that make your hands look like claws. It's just so cool. Not to mention the fact that there are actually those types of weapons that can that actually just look that are claws. There's actually in Monster Hunter World there's a set of dual blades that I really like that that are just giant claws. It's just awesome. Now and also in let's see, in Wonderful 101 by Platinum Games, there's a character who uses gigantic claws, and also in Dynasty Warriors, there's a type of weapon that are claws, and it's awesome, and just claws are cool. Oh yeah, Rakshasas. So Rakshasas, funny thing about them, at least in terms of Dungeons & Dragons, is that one of their hands is reversed. I'm not sure if that's all Rakshasas or if it's just one in particular that I'm thinking about from a campaign. But I think think one of their hands is reversed. I could be extremely wrong. I could just be remembering things very incorrectly. Alright, we're all level 26, and let's see what's behind door number 1. Nightmares! Oh, wow! Oh, wow! I actually just realized something. There are mounts in Final Fantasy XIV that are nightmares. They're horses, much like the enemies that we're fighting right now. And I didn't even realize that those mounts were actually references to the first game. Wow. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV has references to all over the entire franchise. From bosses, to minigames, to references in names, and equipment, and items, and just and even characters are references, and I mean, heck, some characters actually, like, are exactly who they are in future games, but yeah, I didn't realize that those mounts were actually harkening back all the way to Final Fantasy 1. I just thought it was like, hey, you know what's really cool? Horses. You know what's even cooler? Having, like, really, really cool horse mounts in games that have mounts. Especially when you sometimes think about the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, how they all have their, I mean, they're all horsemen, so they clearly have their own horses. Steel gloves, ice brand, ooh, that's an ice sword, and a ruby armlet. Nice. Ice brand is going to be very helpful once we go to Mount Gold, because yeah, using ice weapons on a bunch of fire enemies. Pretty good. Well, pretty good in games that allow that only do the trinity of elements. Fire, ice, and electricity. But then there are other games that say that do 4 elements, like fire, water, air, and earth, you know, like the typical 4 elements. But then sometimes you switch things up and have other types of elements. Sometimes water can mean ice, sometimes elements kind of switch around between games in terms of what they mean. I mean, sometimes they do the trinity of elements, but instead of ice, you have water, so it's water, fire, electricity, which makes a little bit more sense. And then you have other games that just have tons of elements, ranging from fire, to ice, to water, to electricity, to dark and light, to wind, to earth, to magma, to gravity and darkness, and to dragon type, and then there's just like every single type of Pokemon that there is. That's like 18 different types of Pokemon in terms of like elements. Not to mention Pokemon that have 2 typings. That's just crazy. Ice Brand looks really good in these sprites. Very pretty. Alright, we got rid of the big king mummy. And now Fire-El will do all the rest of the work. Hooray! And victory is ours! Gotta love those healing spells. And we get a rat's tail? But I thought we were gonna get some sort of like really cool like weapon or really cool item or just, you know, those are dragon zombies. Oh boy. Yeah, if you thought dragons were bad enough as it was, imagine just zombie dragons. I mean, hey, I can fight against the Valhazak in Monster Hunter. Anything's possible. Yeah! Took those guys down, no problem. And I got a level, yes. Alright, and that is the Citadel of Trials. And we got a rat's tail? Okay. Yes, as weird as it sounds, the rat's tail is exactly what we need in order to get what we want. Well, get what I want. Trust me, if you're playing Final Fantasy 1, you want to do this side quest. Because, trust me, the reward is so much of an excellent surprise, and I am not gonna ruin it because it's so awesome. I'm shaking with excitement. Now I'm A-okay. Yeah, this is the point where you realize that, hey, because of the map design, you have to park the airship far away from your destination. And then when you're done with that destination, you then realize, oh wait, I need to walk all the way back to the airship. Which, as much as I like exploring massive worlds, backtracking, that can be hit and miss with a lot of people. I mean, in games like Super Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, backtracking is basically the name of the game. It's basically synonymous with the actual title. In Final Fantasy, well, sometimes you actually traveling the map is what you're going to be spending the most amount of time on, depending on if you know the map's layout or not, and also just the distance and amount of time that it takes you to get from the airship to your destination or vice versa, and also how many enemies you're going to encounter along the way. And as mentioned before, or at least you can see it, Final Fantasy has a fairly high encounter rate. I mean, ultimately, yes, all these encounters are giving us experience and gold, or gil, which is fantastic because, hey, it means that we can actually buy things and, you know, level up and be able to use higher level spells, which is fantastic. As well as just having more HP and MP is always really good, especially because just, hey, we need to gain levels somehow, so, you know, enemies. The good news is the fact that, depending on how you look at it, lots of encounters on your way from point A to point B might actually cut down on the amount of grinding you have to do in certain RPGs. Some RPGs are really good at just making it so you are a good level like the entire time and things are just really well balanced. In some games, you need to put in a little bit more effort. And sometimes, putting in a lot of effort to level up is really worth it, especially in the late game in certain games, because that's when you start to unlock the super powerful skills and spells and techniques, and also characters in some situations. Sometimes it's a good idea to do side quests in order to sometimes gain experience and money, but also to gain access to certain really good things. Kind of like what we're doing right now, honestly, because trust me, the reward is so worth it. I did not mean to step there, but okay. Actually, these basilisks aren't really that strong, considering that Sam and Cyrus were able to tag team one. Hey, level ups for people. Nice. Alright, so let's just see if I can't get myself a level. I think these basilisks should do. Ah, this one is a little feisty. But now he's gone. No big deal. Hey, there's my level. Awesome! Alright, so with that said, we got a good amount of stuff done today. We gained some levels, we got some new items, we even got, like, the best thing that... Actually, like, the two best things in the game. We got the airship, and we got the rat's tail. And so that means in the next episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy, we get something really special. But I won't spoil that. Alright, so, thank you very much for watching this episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy. I'm Crimson Nero, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, everyone, fare thee well.